if you died tomorrow, would you be okay? And I've asked them so many times, and the answer is always different. But the reason why I ask them is because I already feel that way. Like, I feel like if I were to die tomorrow, I'm literally okay with everything that I accomplished and didn't accomplish.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Lyfe Choyces podcast.
Yeah!
A lot of people in this world are too afraid to go after anything because they don't think it's possible for them, right? A lot of people are apprehensive about going after their dreams because they just don't have enough belief in themselves.
Right.
And the whole thing is what if it is possible? What if everything you've been dreaming about going after, you actually go after it, and everything that you were hoping to receive shows up? Or what if more than that shows up?
I don't think it's more of like that they feel like they can't. I just feel like in today's society, it's more of like their environment that stops that growth. I don't think it's a mental thing, because I feel like you will achieve the dreams that you set out to do as long as you're doing something about it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. I do agree with that because the what ifs, you can only take yourself as far as you are allowing yourself to go. So the only limitations you set are the ones you set for yourself. So like she said, it's not necessarily a mental thing. It's just kind of like a you thing.
Okay, but and SP, you mentioned the environment situation. What would you suggest to people who are afraid to go after their dreams to do in order to change their environment?
I think maybe I feel I'm strong. I'm a firm believer in your environment plays a part in a lot of factors, and I think like achieving that what if idea in, like, let's say like a job, right? It's not so much changing your environment, but more of like putting yourself out there in that career or in that that marketing sense that people like to talk about. And I think it's just altering the path to get there, because a lot of times people like always shut you down, like no, and like even though like, there's a no there's a yes somewhere else. So you just have to find and loop around and just keep thinking that you will achieve that.
Do you think failure, like the fear of failure, do you think that holds people back from trying?
Yes. But I don't feel like you should fear failure, because it's one of the biggest lessons and the most, how can I say it? It's gonna help you in the long run.
I feel like when we fail, I feel like that's a part of growth though. Like we have to fail. Like sometimes we have to.
That's why you shouldn't fear it.
Yeah, like we have to try though. And that's like the beauty of the what ifs though. Like I feel like that kind of ties into all of it. So
well, failure without a doubt is an educator. Yeah. And without great failures, you cannot achieve great things.
Yeah,
and that goes for anything. That's for someone in high school. Like, don't be afraid to go to school and fail. I know the whole point is to get good grades and pass, but if you don't fail, you're not going to try to achieve more and work harder, because the football player that doesn't win the game isn't going to just quit. Right. They're going to go to practice and work harder so that they don't fail again.
Right.
And not only that, I feel like the knowledge at that point comes the way you need it to be. Mm-hmm. You'll learn it your way, because not everybody learns the same way. Mm-hmm. Like I've known a few kids that are always held behind, right? And it's always the parent decision, especially in the Florida system. But it's just like I've watched them take that course or that year again, and they come out so much smarter, like so much smarter, especially the boys. I feel.
And there's nothing wrong with being held back. It shouldn't be looked upon as a bad thing. It's like everyone grows at different rates, learning or growth. And growth tends to come more when you're, I want to say, probably in your mid-20s. You might not be aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then clearly as you get older into your 30s and so on, and when you're in your mid-40s, growth really happens. So being held back in life could be the most positive thing that happened to you, because you're giving yourself an extra year to learn whatever it is that you've already tried. And no one, unfortunately, they do, but no one should be made fun of or picked on for doing it because they're trying. And that's a big thing right now, is like we seem to live in a society that for some reason everyone, and it's out there, like so many people talk about it. It's like we live in a society that you get picked on for trying. And that makes zero fucking sense to me.
Yeah. I think it's like the culture, like she said, the environment, like the way kids are and just the way people are. And it's kind of like, I admire people who like persevere through adversity. Like they don't stop trying. And I feel like you have to know when not to care what people say, because true strength comes from trying and like not giving up.
And understanding that it's okay to be scared.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not one person, I can't believe that there's not one person of success that hasn't been scared to do something. Like think about it, like we put all these people on pedestals, like pretty much anyone that's a visible celebrity, right? Musicians and actors and actresses. And even they themselves nowadays are going on platforms and letting people know, like, oh, it was scary the first time I went to LA to try and act. And like, oh, this happened to me. I wasn't getting any jobs and I thought it was never going to happen. And then boom, you know, like we just see them as like rock stars or famous people that are getting all these Grammys and awards. Grammys might be the same thing as music. I don't know. But the whole point is like, there's nothing wrong with being scared, because you can actually harness that emotion and put it towards whatever it is that that you want to do. The whole point of this question is to help people understand that the what if is possible, because whatever you've put in front of you, no matter how small or big it might be in your mind, there was a what if, whether you know it or not. You work as a chef still?
No.
What do you do now? Retired.
I still work in the kitchen environment, but not on the line.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to know the?
I do. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I work for a very well-known luxury resort, and I'm part of the in-room dining supervisors.
Okay. So when you were a cook, you may not have thought about it, but you were probably thinking, what if I could get that position?
Well, funny story about that. When I was a cook, right? Because every cook goes through this, right? Like, I don't want to do this shit no more. Like, we're tired. And it's like it's an everyday thought at one point, you know, depending on what you got going on in life. Because as a cook, you balance a lot of emotions. And, you know, so during that time that I was one of the chefs there for a long time at another resort, it dawned upon me. I was like, no, like, fuck this, you know? So I went on, I didn't want to leave the brand. So I was just like, let me see what other positions are out there. And I saw in-room dining, and they wanted, I think it was a supervisor, to be honest, because I've been with the company for so long. So I was like, all right, let's apply. And like literally I went through all the interviews. Like it was like a speed thing, because that's what they had going on at that moment, because they needed people. And the one of the managers at the time I knew very well, and he was like, oh, no problem, like we're gonna get you in, you're gonna get it. And my department head, he literally like stopped the whole interview. Like he was like, I saw him come up to the manager and they said something. They looked directly at me. I'll never forget this day. And I was like, oh my God, he just shut it down. And literally they didn't give me the job. And so whatever, you know, I took it like it wasn't meant to be, like maybe not now, right? So I just continued. And eventually I started moving up in that chef realm. Not much, because, you know, as a woman in that industry, it's hard unless you have someone that supports you, like behind the scenes, right? So COVID happened and I stopped working, like completely. Most of Florida stopped working. So then I started doing deliveries. And one of the deliveries, I started running into this other brand of hotel near my house, because everybody was ordering. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know this was here. And then once the gas prices went up. I was like, all right, I need to get a job. So I applied there because, you know, I have a lot of history or like in the resort aspect of it. And I applied, and sure enough, in-room dining. First interview, got it, and I've been there for like, I want to say a year and a half now. And just like 4 months ago, I got the supervisor position.
Congratulations.
And I didn't realize that until I got the supervisor position. And I was like, oh my God, this is like deja vu. Like, I was supposed to have this a few years back. It didn't happen. And now, without even thinking about it, I ended up here again, you know?
And that's a wonderful example of what if you did get that other position, you might have been in an environment that was unhealthy for you.
Exactly.
Because whomever that gentleman was that kind of stopped the situation clearly wasn't having your best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And who knows what happened there? Who knows what the person, maybe they ended up having to get like another one and another one, another one until they found the right fit where they could have had the right fit with you.
Right.
And they lost that.
Yeah.
And life brought you what you needed when you needed it, not when you wanted it.
Correct.
And that what if became what you're doing now, which I'm assuming is making you happy.
And it goes back to what I said originally when I said the whole environment thing. Perfect.
You were able to look at not getting the supervisor job at the other place, not as a failure, where some would. You didn't think it was a negative. You were just like, fuck, I didn't get it. Big deal. All right, on to the next. And you turned it into a positive because you just worked harder, found something else, and
it led me there.
Right. That decision on their part pushed you towards where you are now.
Yeah.
Which is a better spot.
I like that.
It's a good what if.
Yeah.
That's actually perfect. That was a really great story. Listening.
Fun fact.
So speaking about environment, which is so very important for a lot of people, and you know, for myself, I've stepped away from a lot of environments that are not healthy for me, and not because of the people that were there necessarily always, but because I wasn't the healthiest being put in that environment. And so the importance to me of having a good environment, meaning people around you that matter, that care, that are also going after the similar idea of moving forward in life and moving up in life, is so important to me that it brings me to this question for you ladies is, do you have 6 people that would carry your casket?
Is this actually if I died?
Well, yeah, because if you're in a casket,
you're just gonna get in a casket for fun.
I would hope not.
No.
Hypothetically, you're dead.
Yeah.
Are there 6 people that you know that would carry your casket?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly, there's people that I know unfailingly love me and care about me, and it's a really great feeling to have. So I think when you know you have those people that ride for you like that, there's no better feeling. But the same way that I have those people that would carry my casket, I would do the same.
There's very few people, like I have a very small group of tight friends, and doing this podcast actually shows me that I have a lot more because of people that come and sit and chat with me here. It really shows me like the love that they have for themselves, and then in turn for other people that feel the same way. So I actually know there's a bigger bond amongst more people. The people that I associate with, that I'm closest with, people that basically live on the same property with on the compound, I mean, that's 3 people right there that I know, and then we have like an extended group. There's definitely no shortage of it. I feel bad for people that may have this question and they wouldn't be able to answer it. It's sort of something we talked about on another episode. It's like, how many 6 a.m. friends do you have? And do you know what I mean by that? Do you know 6 a.m. friends, 3 a.m. friends? So basically,
the ones that are available at that time.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people think they have so many friends, but like you can only call those people until like 5 p.m. and then like they're just not there.
Correct.
And then you have those people that like if you absolutely, God forbid, whatever the situation is, you know, they would just answer the phone and be like, yeah, where do you need me? I got you. What's up? Well, who are we burying?
Well, I know she's not a 6 a.m. friend. Because
No?
unfortunately,
We're gonna have a
Yes,
fight.
I
We're gonna have a physical fight here.
No. Well, her phone is on Do Not Disturb most of the time. But if I called her at 6 a.m., she'd probably look at the phone and be like, why is this bitch calling me at 6 a.m.? Is she okay? She'd probably be very curious as to why I'm calling her so early and probably answer and be like, "You good, bro?" And then be like, "Stop calling me at this time," and be like, "I just want to make sure you're okay."
No, that's something you would say for sure. I'd be
You?
like, "What's up? What do you want?"
You would answer?
Yeah. Normally I'm up
Aw.
by like 6. At
Okay.
least I'll be up by 6, 7, 8. I'm always like constantly like sleeping and kind of like waking up slowly
How about if I call you at 3?
in the morning.
Yeah.
I might be up. There's a 50-50 chance I might be up.
I mean, I'm in
She's
bed.
a Sour Patch Kid because
Yeah.
she's a Scorpio.
Okay. I'm in bed, like hopefully sleeping by 10 o'clock. Usually I might
Same.
stay up a bit longer, and I'm up at like 5 o'clock. Anything after that, I'm like guilty that I slept in. So I'm not a hard person to call at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. because my ass is up. I'm having coffee already.
Mhm.
But for me, it's such an amazing feeling that I'm able to like have that conversation with people and say, absolutely, there's probably like 3 or 4 people that, and again, I get it. Sometimes you're like dead asleep, so you might have to ring more than once.
Yeah.
But if you were in that situation that you needed that person, again, I feel bad for individuals who don't have that. And if you don't have that, you have to reevaluate your environment
Yeah.
because there's a big reason why you're not with friends that can help you at any time of day. There's a big reason why your life might not be exactly what you want it. And, you know, we all agree it comes from within. You must love this person. You must show up for this person. You have to be accountable for everything that you do, say. But if your environment is full of people that you can't count on, full of people that always say, no, you shouldn't try for that supervisor job. No, I don't think that's a good idea that you should be doing a podcast. No, I think you should probably just stick in the job that you have now. You're fine there. Then yeah, you got to get the fuck out of that environment. You
Yeah,
got to
for
create
sure.
a new environment that can help you become successful.
Well, to be honest, I'm one of those people where I don't know who will show up there. Like if I were to pass, just because a lot of people that are actually like I'm close to are either older or like roughly around the same age. So I don't know if they can hold up that cask.
There's 6 of
But
them.
I will say confidently that I'm pretty sure there'll be 6 or maybe more if I were to pass. I wouldn't tell you who it is, but because I know I've made such an impact in certain individual lives, and I've never been, since I've been a teenager, I never really had like the click. I did. And then, you know, we've split, right? But after that, I never had like a group of friends. I've only had one friend and they had their group, you know? And then I've had colleagues that I've been like really close to. So it's like, I'm pretty sure somebody will show up, but I couldn't tell you who.
Well, how do you? I've grown up in a similar situation. I change schools every 2 years. I've never gone to a school for more than 2 years. My entire nursery school to freaking graduating college. How do you think that helped you develop as an individual? How do you feel that you now treat people because you were always that person? Same thing here. I didn't have a group. One person at this school, 2 people at that school.
Yeah.
I always kind of felt like a bit of an outsider.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. But I definitely was able to be a person that understood what it takes to become social and be okay in your own skin. I think that was like a benefit from always being in that.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that you may now treat others or maybe even help them if you notice that they're kind of like going through a similar lifestyle?
I feel like I encounter that every season. Like I have like a knack for seeing like sadness or like a person not feeling okay in an environment like quickly. Like even like working with somebody that is anxious or nervous, I can pick up on it, and I tend to like smooth like the vibe, you know. And that's only because I felt very solo a lot of my life because I'm an only child as well. So I was always by myself, you know. And then transferring from a middle school to a high school in a completely different city was like, oh my god, it was like the worst. But I definitely just feel like because of everything of that nature, I feel like how I treat people now, like that's why I wouldn't change my little life journey that I had going on, because I approach people very genuinely, you know, because like I get it. Like, and you may have that privilege, and I've seen so many people that have that support system, have brothers and sisters, have like very family oriented, and they're not, like, you can tell they're not at peace. You know what I mean? They don't have that they don't rely on certain people the way I rely on certain people. Like, it's a different sense, you know? Like, they're there because they're family, you know, or they're there because that friend's been there forever. But it's very different from.
It's almost more beneficial to have gone through struggles.
Yeah, for sure.
Than to have had
that support.
Yeah, because you're right. Sometimes the person that has had the most fun in high school and the most support growing up and been told, oh, you know, you're doing great and your grades are awesome. Yeah, maybe once they get to life, you know, because life don't start really until you're kind of like on your own out of the parents' house, and you now have to socialize on your own. You're not put into a school environment necessarily, and yeah, they may not be as fulfilled yet. You know, they haven't had to work hard to fit in. They haven't had to work hard to have a conversation with strangers,
or even just connect with somebody. It's so hard to connect with people nowadays. You know,
that's not true. That's why me and you connected off rip though, because
off of.
Oh, he's like off of what? Instantly, when her and I met, we instantly had like a great connection. We became friends like almost immediately. Her and I are very similar,
but very different.
But very, I like how she said that, very different.
It's important.
But I like how she has a high level of empathy, but she's also just very like self-aware of like her boundaries with people. She knows how to get close but not too close, because she likes to guard her heart, and she's just very, like she said, you know, she's an only child, but then she's like very genuine and authentic, like with the way that she connects with people, and just she reads people very well. She's just very analytical, but very like, she's just cool. And I knew that like instantly when I met her, and I think that's why she liked me too. I don't know. I don't like that little giggle, but she just gets me, and we click. So I thought that was very cool. But a lot of what she says has always resonated with me, and I think it's very hard to meet people that have the same viewpoints as you, shared likenesses, mentalities.
That's why doing this stuff, I think, is such an amazing thing, because even though it starts off slowly, you start to meet people that you probably would not have met otherwise, and you are able to connect on a level of like-mindedness.
For sure.
So SP saying that, you know, connecting is not as easy nowadays. You're saying it still is.
You know what? It is, but it isn't, because dependent on, you know, how open you are, where you can be with the way that you put yourself out there, you can connect with someone, or you can just be closed off. I feel like these days a lot of people, they're either trying too hard, or the connection just seems to just be different. I'm not really sure.
I got 5 different things, probably 7, but I'll end up saying 2 points to all this. So I'll try to remember before I lose them all. So I don't remember how like TJ and I, like, actually, I don't remember the first time like we met or whatever, but it was absolutely effortless. Like we didn't hang out right away all the time or anything, but it was like you know, met him through his brothers because of like the bar. And eventually we would like talk, and I'm sure we exchanged numbers. And then, you know, and then it was like, oh, what are you doing tonight? Oh yeah, let's go downtown. Like, oh, what are you doing? Oh yeah, let's go out. And it just, you know, now we, you know, roommates for like three and a bit years.
Right.
And it was, I don't ever remember it ever being any effort at all.
Right.
But we were both very much, we've always both very much since we've known each other, just been us.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it can be difficult, I think, if you don't know who you are. That's a real struggle. If you don't know who you are, then it's hard for you to socialize with other people. Nowadays, it's hard to connect with strangers because we've been put into this technology era where convenience of sitting at home and not talking to people is so prominent. The phone is your friend. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't even, like, you could video your friend. You don't even have to go see them anymore. You can video game with them from your house and their house, right? So the connectivity is definitely disconnected, I believe. If you have like-minded people, yes, you can connect. And then those random moments where you do just happen to start talking to a stranger, some of the most amazing things can come from it.
Yeah.
Now, I do a lot of things on a regular basis to try to kind of like send out some happiness to other people. And I've noticed more people than not are afraid, at least their body language, of a complete stranger saying hi to them or saying, how you doing today?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not the scariest looking individual. And I admit when I have Sushi, my puppy, it's less abrasive to people, which I think is funny because you can't talk to the dog. But I do things like I ask complete strangers on the street, hey, how you doing? And I ask it before you pass them. I'm like, hey, how you doing today? And a lot of people will say, oh, I'm good. How are you? And I'm like, I'm fantastically wonderful. And I just keep walking, right?
Yeah.
And that reaction, I hear that reaction, which I'm like, all right, good. I just put some kind of happiness in them. But the amount of people that like kind of look at you like, what the fuck are you doing talking to me?
Yeah.
Tells me that it's like the connection is not wanted. And that's strange to me. Like, what do you guys feel in your everyday life with that?
I feel the same way. And I find it very common in like the younger society. And not even, they don't even have to say anything to you. You could just look at them and they just look like miserable. Like, why am I even here? Like, why are people talking to me? Like, I find that very common in younger folks. Like the older crowd, like people like my age, it's kind of like breaking the ice for them, but then they like soften up, you know?
I don't know. I feel like it's a little mixed for me because my age and then even the older um, age group, it's a bit both for me because I've noticed older people are also a little dismissive because they're like, hey, mind your business. Like, why are you talking to me? But then again, some older people are also very friendly as well because they're like, oh, you'd be surprised that a lot of older people are actually very lonely and they love people engaging with them. And I love that. Um, I'm a very social person. I'm very friendly.
Don't look at me.
I'm very I'm very friendly, so I love talking to like strangers. Sounds very weird saying that out loud. I talk to a stranger. But so there's times where I spark up conversation with people like at the grocery store, or I was doing my nails today and I was talking to the old lady that was sitting next to me, and she was so nice. Her name was Linda. Like, we had a great time. So anyway, she was lovely and we had a whole conversation, but that's besides the point. I made that lady's day. Like, I love talking to people. But when I'm bypassing someone I don't know, I will engage with them if the moment, you know, comes to me. Hi, how are you? Most of the time they say hi back. Most of the time they are just like, why are you talking to me? Just like you said. But depending on the situation, if they're young, if they're older, it depends. Sometimes they're dismissive. Sometimes they are like, hey, or they'll be like, hi, oh, how you doing? I think sometimes if they don't say anything back, I think it's because maybe there's something going on with them.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's not,
And
I
that's
don't
the
take it
understanding that
personal.
I have because we're
Yeah.
all going through shit
Yeah.
that you don't know. Like, you're going through shit that I don't know
Yeah.
about, you're going through shit I don't know about, and vice versa. And my whole point to it is because I'm going to be dead one day. I'm not going to be here. And eventually, no one's going to remember who I am. Now, you'll be in a photograph, but eventually those photographs or the digital stuff, that's all going to float away one day, right? So while I'm here, I'm choosing to do my best to help people have a good day.
Yeah.
And by me commenting like, oh, your hair looks nice today as they walk by me, guy or girl, you know, with guys, I usually say, oh, nice kicks, you know,
Yeah.
and the guy right away be like, oh, thanks, man. And like what you just did for the rest of that person's day, you can't really explain that to somebody. It's the same thing when you receive a compliment from someone like that you haven't seen in a while. They're like, oh, you look really good right now. Like, what have you been up to? You automatically get a sense of like, fuck yeah, what I've been doing is worth it. Like you were saying, like a lot of the younger generation right now feels like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know, it's difficult for them. They're a bit too sensitive. But if they received some positive reinforcement. I'm not saying we have to hold everyone's hand and sing kumbaya, with the aspect of, once we do pass on, I know we've been talking about this a couple times today, but I'm completely comfortable with talking about death because my father, when he was alive, he always expressed it to us as kids that it's just part of life. You have to be okay with it. And once you become okay with it, I feel like you can live a lot easier. But knowing that one day, everything about you will be gone. I mean, like who you are, who you were, the people's lives that you touched, even they will pass on. Knowing that even if you're written down in a book, right? Eventually those books are all going to be gone. How would you live your life? Like a lot of people don't understand that you need to live, but they're too afraid to think about dying. So it's a lot right there, but knowing that you're going to be forgotten one day and none of it really, in the great scheme of things, really matters. Once you figure that out, how do you live your life?
The same way I'm living it right now.
Okay, you're already in that mindset.
I'm already in that mindset.
Yeah.
Like I ask, I debate with my dad a lot because he's a traditional, very Italian man.
Mhm.
So the pride is like skyrocket, like the highest I've ever seen. And I always ask him, and I was like, if you died tomorrow, would you be okay? And I've asked him so many times, and the answer is always different. But the reason why I ask him is because I already feel that way. Like I feel like if I were to die tomorrow, I'm literally okay with everything that I accomplished and didn't accomplish.
I like how you just said that.
Because literally, that's literally why I got this tattoo.
What is it?
It's Latin, and basically the description or like the definition of it is love of one's fate.
What's it say?
Amor Fati.
I'm going to show you my phone. I'm literally getting that tattooed on the side of my,
Bro.
between the ear and the sideburn. Are you fucking kidding me?
I swear to God.
I love it. My
Yeah.
tattoo artist was just on the show a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago. We filmed yesterday. And I have like, I got to figure out what movie this was. I watched a movie recently and that phrase was in it. And it might have been the Equalizer, the third one with Denzel Washington.
In Italy?
Yeah.
It's such a good movie.
Dude, it was fucking way better than part 2. I fucking
yeah,
love
it
that
was.
shit.
It was so good.
And so
I actually watched it with my dad.
That's hilarious. So I think that's where I got the words for it. And I have it. I'm going to show you afterwards. It's in my phone for my next tattoo, which is going to be right along here. So I want to get some more stuff done in my ears.
Yeah.
And I love that because when you look it up on Wikipedia, it says love. Part of it is love of one's fate.
Whether good or bad.
Right.
Yeah, you're okay with what you went through. All of it. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I got it. It was actually my 2024 yearly horoscope thing. Like that's the first thing it said. It said Amor Fati, bitch. And I was like, damn.
Did it say bitch?
I love it.
Wait,
yeah,
did it say
literally.
bitch?
Yeah. I'll show you. I screenshotted it and everything. I was like, bro, this is hilarious. And like I was talking to one of my servers and we were talking about that. And he's like, yo, you really gonna get that tattooed? I was like, literally. And 3 days later I got it tattooed. And he's like, but you haven't gotten tattooed yet. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you just can't see it, but I'm tattooed, bro. I literally got tattooed like 2 hours ago. He's like, you're fucking wild. But yeah. But yes. That's
so cool.
That's literally
Yeah.
like.
Should I get it too? No.
No, you got to get there mindset wise.
Yes. She just called you out there. But now the question goes to you. Like, would you? Well, I guess we're saying like, if you died tomorrow, would you be okay?
Yeah, 100%. I'm
Don't be lying. Then there's the ghost lingering around here.
First of all, if I died and I became a ghost, I would haunt you.
Nah, bro, I would be dead too.
I'd be like okay with it because I would like one of them to show up already, a nice one. Be like, yo, just let me know what's possible. I want to see what's up. I'll help you. Yeah.
Maybe standing right over there while you're podcasting. But so no, if I were to die, I know there's probably still more that I could have done or that I still feel like I need to do in this world.
So those things that you still want to do, would you be okay leaving Earth knowing that you didn't do them?
I'm fine with it because maybe I wasn't meant to achieve them. It's like totally fine because if I if I was supposed to have done them, maybe I should have done them already. Like maybe there's like divine timing for everything. Like I should have done them already. I don't know. So like if I died tomorrow, like it's okay because I was able to have my kids. I was able to experience them. So it's like totally fine to me. If I had them, it's like fine. I'd explain that, I guess.
Listen, I've
You know
said
what I
this,
mean?
I've
I
said
don't
it
know.
before. I've seen more places in the world than most people will ever do in their life. I grew up with two parents that, without a question, loved me. I never, didn't get along with my dad when I was a kid,
Yeah.
but then he was my confidant when I was an adult.
Yeah.
But I was so many things that I've experienced that I'm so grateful for, that if it was done tomorrow, I know that I have become a better human for others and for myself. And I know that I have tried so many different things in life that nobody can say he didn't try.
Yeah.
And if that is all that people say when I'm gone is motherfucker tried, then absolutely I'm fine with bouncing tomorrow. Do I want to? No,
Like,
I don't, because I want to do so much more. And I'm now, in the past year and more each day, immersing myself in the idea that today could be the last day. And so that each day, and I falter, I don't accomplish everything I want in every single day. I'm a
Same.
fucking human, but I set out with some fucking serious goals of things I want to accomplish today, next week, next month, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And knowing that at any given moment, the plug could be pulled.
Yeah.
I'm still going to wake up and put forth the best effort I know how,
Yeah.
knowing that I'll falter, and knowing that even though I wanted to be here in the studio at 7 a.m. today to start editing, I felt it was more important to hang out with my buddy because his parents are in town and his nephew was coming over, and we went for breakfast, and I hadn't seen his garage yet that he just got, and he's fixing he's turning over a car basically. So yeah, I felt it was more important to go do those things today and then come to the studio and get editing done that I can.
Yeah.
Because if I am gone tomorrow, I at least wanted to know I put some effort into that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think another thing to add is that, like what you just said about those moments, like with friends or like doing something that for that moment, like meant something to you, opposed to just like coming here to edit. That meant something to you, right? Like you chose that. I think like life is a sequence of events that you're choosing. And
So life is full of choices.
of course, life choices. And, that was cute. The one thing I can confidently say, because I was just like thinking about that, and that actually just made me like feel like really like at ease and at peace. I don't know if you guys have ever felt like this sense of like peace, like about things, like without a doubt, like about life. You guys ever?
So I
kind of felt that
love your
feeling?
question. Is everyone seems to chase after this idea of peace of mind
Yeah,
when it's actually up to you
to have it.
to have peace of
create
mind.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's where I'm getting at, because for me, the reason why I tell you I'm like I have that peace of mind with life and with death is because I'm so blessed and so happy with being a mother and having had my kids. I feel like all those things that I would have like chased and attained in life, or goals or things that I didn't achieve, it's almost like it doesn't seem as important because
You feel like it's the trade-off because you got to
Yeah.
experience being a mother to
Yeah.
two wonderful children.
Yeah, and it's almost kind of like also the other things like I know I was a good person. Like I know I was a great friend. I know I showed up for the people that mattered. I know I was the person that they needed. I know I was a kind person. Like I know there was like so many things that I did do in life that mattered. So the other things I didn't get to achieve, it's okay.
Is there a long list of things you didn't get to achieve?
No, not really. Like I wish I would have like traveled.
Okay.
You know.
So I'm going to say this then.
Yeah.
Because we should be living each day as if it is our last.
Yeah.
And yes, I know money's a thing. I got
Yeah.
2 kids. That's a thing. I get all
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Travel can be done differently. It can be done differently than what I did. It can literally be you taking your 2 kids to Orlando, which I know you've done.
Yeah.
Taking, your 2 kids to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a place. It's it's travel,
Yeah, we're
right?
gonna work on it.
You know what I'm
That's-
saying?
That's
Like,
a
it's-
short-term goal for me.
But that's the thing. It's like,
yeah,
let's not regret the things we didn't do. If we still have tomorrow, we might be able to do them.
do them. Yeah,
So when you're given tomorrow, that's what my whole point is. If you're given tomorrow, if God's allowed you to wake up, you're being given another day to do something. So why not, if you wake up, try
Do
to
it.
do something,
Yeah.
right? Even if it's just make a list of things you want to do in the next year
Yeah.
and then put those things on a calendar. Like if you want to take your kids on a trip, right?
Yeah.
And there's many things in your head. Oh, do I have enough money? Can I get the time off work? Can I take them out of school? Oh, they only get summer holiday. I get that. Like I don't have kids, but I understand like the possibility of all those thoughts at
Of
once.
course.
But if you write down 3-day weekend, kids, Tampa.
Yeah.
And just take that post-it note, stick it on, like I have a year-long calendar around the corner there, and I'm trying this new practice of doing things like that. And then you hold yourself accountable and say, okay, well, in June, I said I'm going to take my kids for 3 days to Tampa. You have so many months to plan, find an Airbnb that's a good price for you, find activities that can be done there that they're going to really enjoy. You're going to love it because you're taking your kids somewhere and it's just the three of you just having a fucking fun weekend.
Right.
It's not that far, so it's not unheard of to get that done.
Right.
So I'm just a big believer in like trying to like set out like goals for your whole year. Something as simple as like maybe you want some alone time. Like I'm going to read for an hour on the 17th of February. And then you're going to hold yourself accountable that on that day you find that 1 hour to go find a corner under a tree or something like that and read for an hour.
Yeah.
It changes your life. It gives you
Yeah.
something to look forward to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm a big planner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is.
Like at a very young age, like I've always had a calendar and I've always marked down everything.
Mhm.
And it got to a point where I remember it actually happened not too long ago, like last week. I was because I'm buying a house this year. So I was like trying to get like little small debts out the way. Because I always tell people, don't be afraid of debt. You're gonna be in debt the rest of your life. You just gotta learn how to manage your money, right? So I was thinking to myself, or actually this touches like two different things. So I was counting up everything. I'm like, all right, so this month I'm gonna be done with this one. This one's done. Like everything just correlates, right? And then I flipped to June when ideally I wanted to be at a certain level of debt. And then I remember I flipped the page and I got to June and it said, take 5 days off. You've worked hard. Now you're going to get your house. And literally, that's when I was flipping the page to book a vacation.
There it is. Isn't that crazy?
No, and it gets even
It
crazier.
gets better. It gets better.
Yeah. So in my mind, I'm like, that's great, right? But that's till June, right? I'm already tired. So I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, I still want to like venture off and go to one of my sister properties, just to like spend a few nights, right? Just to chill. And literally, my boss 2 days ago called me. I wasn't even working. I was out having dinner with my dad. And he's like, hey, I need you to go work at Brickle. Like, can you? And I was like, absolutely. And he's like, all right, it'll be you're only 2 days off. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. I'll go. And so I talked to my food and beverage director because I wanted a little bit more information. I've never been to the property. I don't even know what I'm walking into. And he's like, oh, so you're going to go for sure? And I was like, yeah. I was like, so like, what's the details? And then he's like, are you going to drive every day down there? I was like, no, there's traffic. Like, can I just, he's like, you want to stay there? And I was like, absolutely. I'm staying at a sister property.
There you go.
I'm working,
Yeah.
but I'm enjoying it at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
But you had the right attitude going into it. You didn't even question about whether or not you were going to go work on your 2 days off, which is way different than what people younger than us are doing nowadays.
Correct.
I'm not going to get into it. Good on you. Good on you. Good on you, because it takes a certain type of person to be willing to give up their days off to go into work. And when you go in and do something like that, to be rewarded, you know what I mean? Like to have like, and one way to look at it as like a mini vacation, even though you have work to do, but you're staying in a nice place and you're going to feel good about yourself because you're helping someone else out that needed it.
Yeah.
And you're also being treated nicely.
Win-win.
Yeah.
We all win. But yeah, I always encourage people to plan it, especially like young mothers. I find it a lot because all my friends have kids and they kind of have like your mentality, like I want to travel more. And it's just like, just plan it. Like even if you don't do it in that moment, just the idea, just implement it in your head, you'll be surprised how you can accomplish it. even when you least expect it.
And you can even go as far as breaking it down into like the exact necessities. Like when I think about like something that I need now, I'm in a different situation because I work in the private sector, right? So I get paid very well when I'm working. Work is not always there consistently, but when it is, I'm doing quite good. And when it is, I can map out how much money I'm going to earn. And also because I'm in the private sector, when I do work, I'm usually taken away from living on land. And so therefore, like everything's taken care of for me, like my housing, my food, my laundry, like I'm not putting any money out. So all the money coming in besides the bills I have is what I'm earning. So I'm able to do something like put together a studio rather quickly because of those funds. But when it doesn't happen, I have to think more strategically with my money. So if I want to go do something like go to a concert or something like that, and that's a very small thing. A concert might be like $100, but you got getting there, you got beverages, like so. Okay, so maybe it's like $250 now. But if you think about it, a 2-day trip, whatever, even if you're just doing it within your city, even if you just take a weekend and just not stay at home and go somewhere, just figure out how much it's all going to cost you and know that you want to do that in 4 months and break it down to a per day earning that you need, right? We all make excuses like, oh, if I had the money or, if I got to work more to save more. It's like, break it down to the days. And it's like, okay, well, I need to make $7 a day for the next 5 months and I'll have more than enough money to go have a 3-day trip. Yeah. Right? $7 a day. How many times do you go to Starbucks? My Starbucks is around the corner for me. I'm not going to lie.
That doesn't stop me from living my life. I still get my Starbucks.
But you know what I'm saying though? But like if you think about it, if you're worried about it, where am I going to find $7 a day? It's like, well, how many times a day do you spend money that you don't really need to? You don't think about it because it is only $7 here, $5 there, right?
But it adds up.
It adds up. Like, I mean, fuck. Starbucks around the corner here. I'm here all day editing. I'll go over there. I'll buy, even if I just buy like a cold drink, I'm into this strawberry acai drink. It's like a lemonade type deal. And I get the egg whites. It's like $10 or $12 every day.
Yeah.
7 days.
Mine's $11.34 every day.
Right. So 7 days, you're over $70, right? An Airbnb might cost you $150 a night. Well, sacrifice your 7 days of Starbucks and you almost have that and you're 4 months away from the trip you want to take.
Yeah. Me and my really good friend have a kind of like this practice that we'll book the flight like months in advance. So by the time we fly out, it's already paid for.
Anything's possible with good practices and planning.
A positive mindset.
Just
doing, you just have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Travel is the most important thing in this. One of the most important things for your education, for your happiness, and for your kids. Get them passports now too.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, get them all done in one shot. Yeah. And then you can plan to go anywhere. Well, it's been enjoyable chatting with the two of you ladies. Yep. I thank you very much for coming out. Jenesty, your second time on the show. So thank you. SB, you're welcome to come back again. It's been enjoyable chatting with you.
Thank you.
And next time we'll just get into more deeper conversations. Maybe we'll talk about more relationships. We did that once before. It seems to be a good topic on this show. So yeah. But thank you for coming and sharing your ideas and opinions on everything, on how to live a happy life and what happens if you are going to die tomorrow. Oh, no. Right? It was all a morbid conversation about death today.
I like it.
It's such a Scorpio thing.
I like it.
For all my lifers out there, thank you very much for coming back each and every week here on the Lyfe Choyces podcast. And we'll see you next week here, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Much love.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You are now about
The Journey, Lyfe Choices podcast.